Okay, knowing what's coming, I love this panel considering this is essentially what Doma did when meeting Gyutaro and Daki. Hello, it's days later. My hair's not brushed because I didn't leave the apartment today, so ignore that. But I have finished volume 11 a while ago. I think I gave this, yeah, this is, by the way, this is the end of the Entertainment District arc. I gave it about 4 out of 5 stars. Strangely enough, and I guess this is when like an adaptation can like heighten things with music and whatnot, but Daki and Gyutaro's ending didn't make me cry like it did in the anime. In the anime, I was actually like sobbing because I thought it was just so beautiful. Daki doesn't necessarily like choose to go to hell per se. She just chooses to be with her brother, even if that means she has to go to hell. And I think that is beautiful. Just kind of like the spider demons, how his family, they stayed together. Like, yes, they're gonna end up in hell, but at the end, they're together. But as always, as much as these backstories kind of destroy me, they get their earned punishment. All is good in the world for now. And I'm glad this arc had a happy-ish ending of sorts. Everyone's like in pain, but I'm glad it's a happy ending because I remember watching the anime and being really scared that Uzui was gonna die just because I feel like there was a lot of death flags throughout, and then there were things he would say throughout this arc where I was like, yeah, you're gonna kill him, which I remember being disappointed by that because I'm like, you're gonna kill yet another Hashira? Like, that's repetitive writing. So I'm really glad she went the route, this author went the route where he doesn't die. Tanjiro and them are happy. They're probably in great pain, but they're happy. And I do think it's funny that the snake Hashira, forgot what his name was, but he's so shocked that Tanjiro is still alive, which goes to show me, I mean, obviously he's gonna be really powerful at the end of the series because he's the main character of a shonen series. But I feel like with all these Hashiras being so shocked by Tanjiro's power, we haven't even begun to see the extent of it, or we've just barely begun. And I'm excited to see this demon meeting that Akaza is at because, I mean, if you get finally kill, if it was 100 years, right? So if Upper Moon demon's finally dead, Muzan has to be angry. Also, on that note, that reminds me, like, the master of the Hashira, whose name I can never remember, he's sicker, which makes me really sad, so I'm worried for his fate by the end of the series. But he makes a comment about Muzan being a stain on his clan, so I wonder if he's related to Muzan in a way, but I will have to read more to find out. I do own volume 12, so I can start reading that today on August 24th. I was supposed to read this yesterday because yesterday was my birthday, so I was gonna celebrate by reading Demon Slayer, but I ended up going out longer than I expected, which I'm okay with. I'm 26 now, exciting. We are now entering territory that I have never seen. Season 3 is out and completed by now. I didn't touch it. I want to read this whole manga before I do, so this is all gonna be new to me. Okay, pause. I'm about halfway through this volume. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with it, but I was reminded of it because I've met the love Hashira, Kanroji, and she said, oh, you defeated an upper rank demon. Tanjiro killed an upper rank demon. Can't he be a Hashira now? You know what I'm saying? They have to kill a certain amount of demons or kill an upper rank demon, and then they can become a Hashira. Why is no one bringing this up? So what's he gonna be the Hashira for? You guys. Hello, it is midnight. I have 3 chapters left of this volume, but I have to stop here for tonight because I do need to go to bed right now for work tomorrow. What are my thoughts? This volume is just very obviously a transitionary period between arcs, so it's kind of slow going. I will say I'm a little disappointed in the Upper Moon meeting. Twitter really hyped that up just for it to be that. Muzan is disappointed in them. Not surprised about that. I do like the beef Akaza has with Doma. I don't know what happened yet, but they're beefing. Doma, what an interesting character so far. Like, he clearly sees that they're beefing, but he loves teasing, and I kind of love that for him. And, like, this man is so sadistic. First of all, I thought, like, Gyutaro dying was going to be an even bigger deal than it was, but apparently it wasn't. Muzan was like, yeah, I know it was going to happen. the shocking part was that he did not like Daki. He said Daki hindered Yutaro, and I'm like, huh, I would have thought you liked her more, but I guess that was just a farce. Doma was like, oh, I apologize, I brought him in. Do you want me to punish myself? And he was so excited about gouging his own eyes out, and Muzan was like, no, just find what I need. So if Doma's that sadistic to himself, I can only imagine what he does to other people. And he like wants to join everyone, which I think is hilarious, just for him to be left alone. And he tried flirting with the instrument girl. Does he have a cult? Because there's that one part near the end of that chapter, or the end of that little section, where the dude's like, the believers are here. And I'm like, okay. So I think he runs a cult? That's what I'm guessing. Muzan sends upper rank 4 and 5 to do whatever they need to do. I'm assuming they're going to be the demons of this arc. Tanjiro was apparently out cold for 2 months. Would never have guessed that with the way the last arc ended. But I guess Zenitsu and Inosuke are not going to be in this arc because they're off on their own mission. And technically, Tanjiro's not supposed to be on a mission. He's kind of just on like a healing arc, which is why he's going to the swordsmith village and also to get a new sword. But Kanao was really cute, and I'm shocked she yelled at everyone to be quiet. Like, you go, girl. Like, Tanjiro was... like the whole like penny thing Tanjiro was doing, that did really help her, and I'm so proud of her. So we get to the Swordsmith Village arc, which is hidden. It's a hidden place. I think that's pretty cool. And we learn that the swordsmith dude that's always so angry about Tanjiro like destroying his swords, Tanjiro was blaming himself this whole time just for like the master of this village to be like, no, Hanagazuka just doesn't know how to build them correctly. And I was like, oh. We meet Kanroji, or Mitsuri, whatever her name is, whatever her first name is. As a character, she's adorable, and I love her relationship with Nezuko already, and how they were just kind of like fooling around. Like, Kanroji treated Nezuko as like a little baby, like tickling her and holding hands, and Nezuko was sad to see her go, and it was so funny when Tanjiro's nose started bleeding. All she did was like go up to him to tell him like a secret, but I guess she's just that attractive. We also meet the Mist Hashira, Tokito. I don't really like him so far. I think he's kind of a dick, which is obviously the intention. They kind of explicitly say that a few times, but he was just so mean to that kid when it came to the key. Oh my god. And sorry, that just made me think of Yorichi just because the doll looks like him, and this ancient doll that no one knows exists. Yorichi reminds me of the upper rank 1 demon. They got the same hair, so maybe they're related too, but like, what a fucking jump scare when I saw what he looked like. I was spoiled for that design. Like, it's everywhere on Twitter. So I got spoiled for that, and I still like went, oh, when I turned the page. But back on track here, Tokito is kind of a dick. Like, he took out his anger on that kid, who we find out is Kotetsu, just to get this key. And then we find out, like, Kotetsu's, like, the last of his kind. Like, his dad died, he doesn't have siblings. Or the last of his clan within the village, I should say. And, like, he doesn't know how to fix this doll if it's broken. Nobody does, and it's so ancient, they don't want it to break. And Tokito has, like, no sympathy. He's like beating these people's asses, and he has like just no regard for anyone's things. Like, his sword broke, so he took a sword from the doll. I mean, Tanjiro does comment on it. He says he doesn't smell any animosity, so clearly like something's wrong. But I don't like him so far. But that means character development. I could like him in the future, and I could like him within the next 3 chapters. Who knows? Oh, but we do find out some more tidbits. We found out that Tokito's the fucking descendant of sun breathers, which is why he's so good at what he's doing, which good for you, dude. And then we find out about inherited dreams. So Kotetsu believes that Yorichi came to Tanjiro in an inherited dream, which is a lot of words. None of those words are in the Bible. But we do end with Kotetsu being really sad because Tokito broke the doll, and it's raining, and Tanjiro's like, we can do it. I'll help you any way I can. Let's see if it's still working. And it is, thankfully, so Kotetsu doesn't have to fix anything. And he tells Tanjiro, train with it. I'll help you in any way I can. The chapter ends. So we find out so much info in this volume so far, and yet it's still not like a favorite. I don't know. It's very slow going. Oh, my favorite part though is actually like a side chapter where we find out how Kanroji and Shinobu got their uniforms. Kanroji was actually flabbergasted to find out how like revealing her uniform is. And then you find out Shinobu got one like that too, but literally you set it on fire in front of the dude who made it, which, girly, good for you. Feminism, we love to see it. That's such a Shinobu thing to do. Like, she's also just so blunt and kind of just does whatever she wants, and I love her for it. Like, this is why she's one of my favorite characters. That's all my thoughts so far. I'll hopefully finish this tomorrow. Let's hope I remember to pick it up and it doesn't take me another month. And I'm gonna go to bed. I'm so tired. Deuces. Just hear me out. Hello, it's been 2 days. I did finish this. Only took 2 days. Usually we know what my life is like. So, where to begin? Poor Tanjiro couldn't eat or drink water and had to rely on rain, was even dying while training with that doll. And he did cut off its head. There's a sword, a katana. I'm assuming it's gonna be like Yorichi's real katana. But Hanekazuka, he came in all buff. Where the fuck did that come from? I bet he's hot. I bet you he is so hot under that mask. But he came all buff and he's like, leave it to me. And they're like, why? And it turns out he's just gonna polish it and had to choke Kotetsu in the process of it. And meanwhile, we finally get to meet Genya, whose tooth grew back. I don't know. I didn't mention this earlier, but he threw a tooth at Tanjiro and Tanjiro kept it. And Genya called him a weirdo, and I agree with that. And Tanjiro was like, no, I want to give it back to you. And I'm like, why? I would throw it away. I mean, he's kinder than I am, that's why, but I would throw it away. Apparently Genya would too, because he yells at him and kicks him out of the room. And this author draws the funniest fucking faces. It's so funny. But you know, in the beginning of the volume, they said that demons can't get into this village. That's why it's all hidden. And that's why Tanjiro had to be like gagged, basically. But our demons are here. Upper Moons 4 and 5 are here. And Gyoko, I think he's Upper Moon 5, the one in the vase, he is so gross, so fucking gross to look at. In the best way possible. Again, I love this author's character design. I do want to know why the fourth one is just so scared all the time. First of all, before I move on, what is Genya so mad about? He's so angry. I'm not gonna call him a dick like I did with Tokido, and my mind's already changing on that. But yeah, number 4, what is he so scared about? Gets his head chopped off. I'm a little disappointed in this. So number 4, Upper Moon 4 gets his head chopped off, and his head grows a body, his body grows a head, and now there's 2 of them. And they clearly have different powers. One has a leaf power and like literally blows Tokito out. And then the other one has this like staff power. It looks like lightning. And they're hot. They're so hot. Like, if I speak, hear me out, y'all. They are so fucking hot. However, narratively speaking, I am a little disappointed in this twist, because I feel like we already got it with Daki and Gyutaro. So now we have another plot twist where an Upper Moon is actually 2 people. However, we just started the arc. Maybe the author's gonna put a twist on it, so I'm not just rereading Daki and Gyutaro. Genya comes with a fucking gun, like this is the fucking United States. Where did he get a fucking gun? And that's how it ends. Like, the last panel is him holding this gun, and the gun is in the forefront while he's in the background. And they're like, Genya's here. Where'd he get a fucking gun, man? That's it for this volume. I have to say it's not the best. Like, I'm not saying this arc is off to a bad start. I don't want to say that. That's like an over-exaggeration. But it's not off to a great start. I'm already not really feeling this. I hope it gets better. I'm assuming we're going to see the Miss Hashida's backstory, maybe the Love Hashida's. I'm kind of obsessed with the fact the only reason she joined the Demon Slayer course is so she can get a husband. So I don't know. I'm still excited to see where this arc is going to take us. But I won't find out for another few days because it's time to go to bed. Hello, it is September 16th. I read a volume of Demon Slayer and then wait like a month or 2 to pick up the next one. But I'm finally picking up Demon Slayer volume 13. We are picking up where we left off from the Sword Village, whatever, arc, yeah. I made my thoughts known on that, how I wasn't a huge fan of the beginning of this arc. I gave the volume 3 out of 5 stars. It is my least favorite volume so far. Our boy Genya is on the cover. So without further ado, I'm just gonna jump in. I don't know, it's already like 10:30. I have to go to bed at midnight, so I don't know if I'm gonna finish this tonight. But if I don't, I will make sure to read it tomorrow too, so I don't keep falling behind. go see. It's October 7th. I only read what volume am I on? Okay, I only read volume 13 last month. For a good reason. I had to take a break from like hardcore reading because I had some other books to read that I wanted to get to and I've been meaning to get to. Mental health reasons. That being said, let's go over what I read in volume 13. First of all, Genya has a gun. Where did he get a gun? And he's that guy who brought a gun to a sword fight, which good for him. They really needed it in the moment. Second, I know I was complaining about what's his face, Upper Moon 4 being like Daki and Gyutaro. Luckily, I kept reading, and that is absolutely not the case. It looks like he's multiple people. They're all Upper Moon 4, but it's kind of like it's one person controlling all these different personalities. And it's really weird how they break off. Like the one dude, he could break off into two personalities. They each can break off into another personality. So it's kind of exponential, but they can only do it every so often. Or after a limited number of times, they do have to stop, or else it just forms really weird. Also in this volume, we learned that Tanjiro, he makes his mark. He touches everyone he meets. There's one point when Tokito's about to fight someone, and he thinks of him. And I just think that's really cute, especially because this whole time, so far in this whole arc, Tokito was just very blasé, was rude, but he's coming around. Because this is when he saves Kotetsu, and we also learn he apparently has memory loss. Genya gets stabbed, and I'm wondering why the fuck he's still alive? It was very much the type of stab that should have killed him. Nezuko gets stabbed through the neck, which looked fucking brutal, especially because it had all the electricity. By that one dude. Tokito starts remembering things, specifically someone telling him his life is trivial. And I want to know why he has memory loss. That's where I'm at with this character. I'm so intrigued what's going on and what exactly triggers him to remember something. I wasn't expecting Upper Moon 5, you know, the guy in the vases, to have like fish powers, because vases and fish, like where is that connection? I guess like fish tanks we can think of, but I don't know, that's me stretching. And then Tokito gets caught in this air bubble thing where he can't breathe, and you know, not only do they need breathing to live, but their fighting styles is very heavily influenced on breathing, so I thought that was kind of ironic. But don't worry, Love Hashida's on her way. She defeated the weird fish thing very fast. There wasn't really conflict with that. It was very anticlimactic, and now everyone's flirting with her because of course. But then we go back to Genya, who now has very weird eyes, like his whole eyeball turned black, and I'm wondering what the fuck is up with that. Something I do like, Nezuko took Tanjiro's sword and the katana, and the katana turned red. And I really like that because in the beginning, they made a big deal about Tanjiro having a black katana and how like people with black katanas never make it to Hashira level. So I came into this thinking, okay, obviously Tanjiro's going to be the first one who can do that, and he's going to do it himself, but he doesn't. It's his demon sister that gets the sword to change colors. So I do really like that twist. So then we find out Upper Moon 4 actually has 5 bodies in total. The 4 regular size one, and then there's a 5th one that's very, very tiny. He's the one that's scared of everything. He looks exactly like Upper Moon 4 did in the beginning of this arc. I'm assuming he's the main source just because of how tiny he is and how he looks like the default. But this is when we find out Genya really wants to be a Hashira, so he's the one who's out to kill this guy. And then you actually find out Genya's backstory. So I almost gave this volume 3 out of 5 stars. I'm sorry, I'm really not feeling this arc. However, then I got to Genya and Sanemi's backstory, and how heartbreaking. Like, their mom turns into a demon, Sanemi kills her, but Genya accuses Sanemi of being a murderer, not knowing the demon is their mom. Because this whole time, he thought it was a wolf that came into their house. And that just breaks my heart because Genya feels so guilty about it, and now he has it in his head. He's never going to be a good Hashira. I guess he can't be one because he can't do breathing, which is why he has a gun. But I don't know, it's just so sad because it's hinted that Genya and Sanemi used to be really close until the death of their mother. There's even a panel of Sanemi smiling. And also, Sanemi's anger makes a lot more sense now, considering that's what happened. I knew he was going to have a tragic backstory. Again, I assume everyone has a tragic backstory, so that's why the love Hashiras kind of caught me off guard. But his anger makes so much more sense because he's the one who had to kill his mom, but then he was spoken to like that by his brother, who he was trying to protect. But to this day, Genya is still very mad at himself for doing that. He feels a lot of guilt. He's like on the brink of death here, apologizing to him in his inner monologue. He's the one who tells Tanjiro, okay, go defeat this guy. I'll let you just this once. And Tanjiro is about to cut off this guy's head. and that's when the volume ends. So I'm gonna start reading Demon Slayer Volume 14. I have about an hour and a half until I have to go to bed, so I'm gonna see how far I can get. Our girl Mitsuri, is her name Mitsuri? Mitsuri is on the cover. The Love Hashira is on the cover. I am hoping this is the last volume of this arc. This arc is kind of killing me. I read somewhere that they almost canceled the manga during this arc, and then luckily the anime came out. Can kind of see why. Hopefully it ends with a bang, and let's get reading. This man is so fine. I was not expecting him to be this hot. Okay, so I read 4 chapters of this volume. As I was reading, I forgot to mention that in volume 13, something very important happened. Tanjiro was having Yorichi's memories. He remembered some woman. Yorichi's sword was also able to turn red. I'm saying that's important just because it never came up again in the volume, but I know it's going to come up later. I know Yorichi's going to have some big role, especially if he's using sun breathing, which is the first form. So I just wanted to make sure that made it into this vlog. Now, as for the 4 chapters I read, I do want to say I'm enjoying this volume so much better than the first 2 of this arc. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're veering away from Tanjiro and Nezuko. Like, some of their stuff can get a bit repetitive, and like, I love them, but I also want to see all these other characters. She introduces so many characters, and it's like, I want to spend time on them too, you know what I mean? But first of all, the volume opens up with yet another demon of sorts, just another design. The angry demon, the anger Upper Moon 4, got so pissed off that Tanjiro tried killing the mini one. The main guy, it was confirmed that he's the main body. He decided to grab all the other demons, he summoned them and squished them together and made them one. So now he just looks like this teenage boy with that ring of 5 drums on it. He looks really cool. The character, like I said earlier, this author does amazing character designs. I love what this guy looks like. So he's basically all those personalities and just mega pissed off. And we learn the more you press and scare the main body, the stronger he gets, because that strong emotion is what causes him to create these new demons. And I think that's pretty cool. That is definitely what sets him apart from Daki and Gyutaro. That chapter ends with Nezuko saving Tanjiro and Tanjiro basically yelling at him. Oh, because, in context, this demon called Tanjiro a villain for doing that, for trying to kill the main body. So Tanjiro went on his speech that he goes on with every demon. How am I the villain? You're the one killing people. And something I've noticed that sets this apart from other series where, you know, these giant things, these things just eat humans, such as like Attack on Titan and Tokyo Ghoul that I'm thinking of specifically. Because in Demon Slayer, I was like, can we really be mad at these demons when they kind of have to? Like, how else are they going to survive if they don't eat humans? But I was thinking about it, and I actually like how she handles it. What sets this apart from other series that have things that eat humans is that these demons do it mercilessly. They find joy in destroying lives. They find joy in torturing these humans, and they don't just eat for sustenance. They also like to torture. They think it's fun. Some of these are very sadistic beings. So I feel like that's what this sets it apart from other series with the same concept. And I could definitely relate to Tanjiro's anger even more. As of now, we still don't know why Genya has eyes like that and how he survived a stabbing on all these literal holes in his body. But the next chapter is when we go back to Upper Moon 5, Gyoko, that's his name. I can never remember their names. And Miyuchiro, I keep calling him Tokito, but that's his last name. He's still stuck in the blob. He's remembering things while Gyoko's off and meeting Hanagezuka. Hanagezuka is making another sword, and we find out he is one of the hottest men in this fucking universe. Nothing could have prepared me for how pretty he is and how attractive, and like, if a man like that came up to me, I would simply bend over. I don't know what to tell y'all. He keeps sharpening the sword. Nothing can break his concentration, and Gyoko is mad. Gyoko is jealous because even he can't concentrate that far. But anyway, also in this chapter, Miyuchiro is still stuck in that blob. He thinks he's going to die, but then it's Kotetsu who saves him. After Kotetsu gets a pretty hard blow that should kill him. Where I'm at right now, it wasn't really confirmed whether or not he officially died, but Miyuchiro was very grateful, and then he started remembering more things. So then we get to chapter 3, which was his backstory, and oh my god, how freaking tragic. So the reason Tanjiro keeps coming to mind, even though it's not Tanjiro saying these things, is that his dad has the same eyes as Tanjiro, and that probably could go back to the fact they're related to Yoriichi, blah, blah, blah. But I'm beginning to think, it's not really explicitly said, but I'm beginning to think the reason Muichiro has memory issues is because he's so traumatized from his past. When he was 10 years old, his mom died of pneumonia, and then his dad died by falling off a cliff. So demons weren't even involved with those two, and yet, but still traumatic deaths, especially for a child to witness. So for the next year, it was just him and his twin. And I've noticed, it's like the same concept with Shinobu and Kanai. Muichiro's twin is very stoic, while Muichiro's actually the emotional one, the kind one. And he even explicitly says, like, I'm adopting his personality, or I've been adopting his personality lately. And they actually knew all about demons. I keep forgetting his name too, but the master's wife, Amane, came and told him, this is who you're related to, and Muichiro was inspired to become the swordsmith. It was his brother who shot it down, and then one day a demon comes, attacks his brother, and then Muichiro sees red, and like, he gets so angry during this attack that he just forgets what happened. He doesn't even remember killing this demon. He goes home, and it's his brother like praying to the gods to give Muichiro a good life, punish him as in the brother instead because he's not kind like his brother. His brother's the kind one. That trope always gets me. I teared up a bit. That trope always gets me though, when like the mean family member is like, save the other one. They're nicer than me. They have a kinder heart. And I'm like, oh my God. And that's how that chapter ended. And I was like, damn, you poor guy. And at first I didn't like him at first. And now I just like backstories change your perspective. And I've noticed this. Japanese writers are so much better than Western writers, or American writers in particular, when it comes to this, when it comes to the sympathetic backgrounds and how they get me from hating a character to sympathizing with them and actually really appreciating them. Japanese writers have it down pat. And then in the last chapter I read, Gyoko's just so confused because Muichiro shows up when he should be dead. And again, we don't know if Kotetsu died for sure. I'm going to assume so if it was a vital spot that got hit. Gyoko's like, whoa, why is he alive? And also asking why the fuck he has a mark on his face. I'm also asking that. Where I'm at right now, it hasn't been answered, but Gyoko did say it's the same mark that Tanjiro has on his face, meaning, because I know this mark was brought up before, but Tanjiro kept saying, no, this is a scar when I hit my head on like a hot teapot or a hot kettle, whatever it was. Meaning, Rengoku's father was correct, and it's Tanjiro who misunderstands his own face. There's a mark, and for some reason Muichiro has it. Hasn't been explained yet, and I'm very, very excited to see what does it mean? What do things mean? This author has a way of introducing things in like small doses, and they're huge reveals. The tiniest, I don't know how to explain it. They're like tiny details, but they're also the biggest reveals in a sense, and yes, she doesn't expand on them for a while. She teases you. And it drives me nuts, but in the best way possible. So they're fighting. Gyoko releases some octopus thing that's really gross, but Muichiro beats it. But Muichiro swings that sword, and Gyoko's like, haha, you didn't get me. Turns out he did. Gyoko's neck was bleeding, and Muichiro was like, next time, I'm going to actually cut your head off. And it literally ends with Gyoko smiling and saying, don't mock me, boy. That is the last panel, and I'm so upset I have to go to bed and I can't continue reading because I want to know what the fuck that mark is, and I want to know why Genya is still alive when he should really be dead with all those fatal wounds. What is going on, y'all? And why didn't the Love Hashira make her appearance yet when she is on the cover of this book? I am wound up. I'm so excited. I'm loving this volume compared to the other two in this arc. I don't know what happened, but I like that it's gotten so much better. But that's the end of tonight's update. Peace out. I'm going to bed. His family just told him he did well. I'm gonna cry. He's crying. I'm starting to cry. Rengoku basically saved him. I can't. You guys, so it only took me 2 days, not a whole month, to get back to volume 14, and I have finished it. What a volume. I said this before, but this is so much better than the other 2 volumes of this arc because so much fucking happens. I loved Muichido's insults towards Gyoko, and then the way they just bickered back and forth I thought was hilarious. What I also find hilarious is that Gyoko went on that whole speech about how only 3 people have seen him in his true form and everyone dies. Then he turned into the creature of the Black Lagoon, just to be killed like 2 pages later by Muichiro. Like, that just took me out because I'm like, you were just bragging like 2 pages ago and now your head is on the ground. And Muichiro chopped the head in half because Gyoko wouldn't shut the fuck up. But we didn't get his backstory. Sometimes we usually get backstories. Him and Enmu didn't get those backstories as they died. But Muichiro faced due to the poison. Kotetsu's still alive because Rengoku saved him. Essentially, like Rengoku's sword thing is what blocked the hit, essentially. And then Muichiro cried because he remembered his family. Then I cried. They told me he was doing such a good job. And then finally, we get back to Tanjiro in upper rank 4, whose name I can never fucking remember. And Mitsuri finally makes her appearance, the Love Hashira. She's actually a really cool concept. She has a really cool katana because it's super flexible. She herself is flexible and apparently super strong. Like, she has the muscles of like people 8 times her strength or something. And also she's super fast. She's even faster than Tengen. I actually would have loved to see Tengen Uzui fight off this demon just because of like the whole sound wave thing. But she's even faster than him. And it's cool like watching her, like just her art style and how the body is contorted and all that. And I really want to know what bra she is wearing because she is wearing such a good bra for her boobs to stay in place. Mine would be all fucking all over the place if I was wearing an outfit like that and doing that, but you do you, girl. She saves Tanjiro from the upper rank 4 because he has that weird dragon thing going on. She miscalculated, is about to kill him, and Tanjiro's like, no, that's not the main body. So then her life flashes before her eyes. And you find out her background still isn't tragic, especially compared to other people's. But it wasn't all hunky-dory either. She was strong. She always had that unnatural hair color. She had a huge appetite, which, girl, relatable. Totally relate to that. And her marriage arrangement fell through. So she thought she had to change herself. She dyed her hair. She ate less, pretended to be weak. Then someone wanted to marry her, but she wasn't too happy about it. And she ended up joining the Demon Slayer Corps, where obviously the master welcomed her with open arms. She was able to do everything she wanted. Iguo, which is the serpent Hashira. There's so many characters in this fucking series. Iguo gave her the socks that she wears. And I just think it's really cute that she finally found her family. And at this point, it's Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko who are kind of knocking her to the ground because like the sound waves from that demon made her freeze essentially, and she would have died if he hit her. Then they make the plan that she's gonna fight off this upper rank 4 demon while the other 3 go find the main body. So our trio runs off, and then I finally, oh wait, one thing I forgot. Mitsuri has that fucking Mark II that Muichiro has, and the upper rank 4 demon made a comment that it looks like a demon mark. What the hell is going on? There's no explanation for that yet, and it's driving me nuts. But our trio runs off. They get caught up in this tree thing. And that is when I find out the reason Genya is doing what he's doing is because he can basically turn himself into a demon. He can give himself demon traits. What the hell is going on? Like, he has special jaws, a special digestive tract, so that he starts to eat this demon tree, and that's why he can regenerate. That's why he has eyes like that. He's the only one who could do it too in the whole Demon Slayer Corps. And it's like, how do you learn you can do that? That he just one day decided to bite this demon and he learned by accident? Like, what's going on? Because he doesn't have physical strength. He can't use breathing, but he still wants to become a Hashira. So do what you gotta do. The end justifies the means. They get the demon tree open. He's like, go, Tanjiro, go. And Tanjiro's like in mid-swing when they realize the main body is once again gone. And then we get a flashback for upper rank 4. And because Tanjiro's telling him you need to take responsibility, in the flashback some man is telling him to take responsibility as well. And then he goes on a little tangent about how he never lies, but people don't believe him, they're unsympathetic. And then the last panel is the tree thing falling, Tanjiro making a face, and what is Genya saying? Get your act together, moron. So, lots to, look at my wall. I finally put my posters up after living here for months. But what to say? This arc for the longest time was feeling like filler, but important stuff was being introduced. These supposed demon marks. Genya can eat demons. Okay. I'm wondering how they're gonna kill off upper rank 4. I'm excited to see that backstory too. I have a feeling we're gonna get an in-depth one. I'm actually getting really excited to see how this ends, to see what happens with upper rank 4 and how Muzan reacts, because these upper ranks, they're dropping like flies. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna pause, watch a movie, order some food that's not going to be fish, because there is way too much fish in this volume and I never want to see fish again. And I will update you guys next time. Hello everyone, it's November 2nd. Shit, are you okay? I'm continuing this vlog with Demon Slayer Volume 15. We are reaching the end of the Swordsmith Village arc, and honestly I could not be any happier. Because minus the last volume, I wasn't really enjoying this. But life update, I got a dog. Hey Carmine, his name's Carmine. I adopted him about 2 weeks ago because it's lonely here in Philadelphia. Boop. So coffee's being made, then I'm gonna get started. The hottest character is on the cover of this and I cannot wait. Hello. So, same day, because for once in my fucking life, I finished 1 volume of Demon Slayer in a single day. I have finished volume 15. We have ended the Swordsmith Village arc, which honestly, thank fucking God, I was not a fan of that arc as a whole. There are bits and pieces I liked, but as a whole, I wasn't a fan. And we have entered the Hashira training arc. So Tanjiro thought he defeated upper rank 4, but it turns out like the mini dude grew up into a big dude. But then he chopped off Big Dude's head, but it turns out Mini Dude was in the heart or something like that. Something really bizarre. So now upper rank 4 and 5 are dead. The only ones left are 1, 2, and 3. And they've been pretty powerful, or at least 3 has been pretty powerful so far, so I'm sure 1 and 2 are even scarier. But meanwhile, Nezuko is burning in the sun. And at this point, I'm confused because I know the series is completed. She's on the cover of the very last volume, so I'm like, well, she's not dying. Something has got to be happening. Then we get a flashback of Lady Tamayo. We finally get to see her. I feel like it's been so long. She's writing a letter to Tanjiro. Nezuko's blood is changing. Oh, she was able to get someone back to normal, which is important because then now we know there's hope for Nezuko. But she noticed Nezuko's blood has been changing, and she has a theory that Nezuko can withstand the sun. Next thing you know, Nezuko's talking in the sun, and she's not human. She is still very much a demon. So she is the first ever demon to be able to withstand the sun. And Muzan knows right away. He was in little kid form, but went back to Michael Jackson form, killed off his adopted family. Now he doesn't feel the need to look for the blue spider lily. He just wants to eat Nezuko. He just wants to perform some cannibalism. And having said that, we actually get a flashback of Muzan becoming a demon. I think it's 1,000 years ago at this point. He was very sick. He wasn't going to make it to age 20, which really enforces the fact I forget how young these characters are. The physician that was helping him inserted a bunch of medicines in him which turned him into a demon, but he killed the physician because he wasn't healing correctly. Then we get the whole insight of why he wanted the blue spider lily. Makes me wonder if she's just gonna drop the blue spider lily from the story at this point, because I guess it's like no longer needed if the goal is just to eat Nezuko, but like I still would have liked to know more, because Muzan even says he doesn't even know if it like exists, he doesn't know how to make it, etc, etc. So time passes by, we're at the butterfly, or Tanjiro's at the butterfly mansion, but all the Hashira are at Uba, what the hell is his name? Uba Yashiki, the demon corpse leader. They're all at his mansion. His name is Kaguya, so I'm gonna just use that name. So they're talking about what to do next. Kaguya is so sick, he can no longer get out of bed. He can't even move, so we meet his wife, Amane. And the whole time I was like, why do I know the name Amane? I have seen that somewhere else. And for some reason I was thinking it was Tokyo Ghoul, but it's Misa's last name. Misa Amane from Death Note. So all the Hashira are aware of Nezuko. What they're gonna talk about this meeting is something called the Demon Mark. Those marks I was really confused about during the last arc. Apparently Mitsuri and Tokito were just as confused as I am because they didn't even realize that the marks were even on their bodies in the first place. Turns out the first ever demon slayers who were using first breathing, which I'm assuming is sun breathing, they all had these demon marks. Amane is still not sure how one gets them, and that's why she had this meeting, because she wanted to ask Mitsuri and Tokito how they got them. The Wind Hashira, Sanami, was very confused. He's like, why have we never heard of these things? And it was apparently kept a secret because people would get so mad that they could not get the mark, which I get it. I could see why that would drive people insane. All the Hashira now want these marks. They're going to train for them. But she said something, and this really pissed me the fuck off. She said something, I must warn you, if you already have the mark, then you are like destined to. And then it gets cut off and we go to a new scene. What are they destined to do? Is it to fucking die? Because you know who has the mark? Tanjiro, and she said that. Tanjiro was essentially destined to be a demon slayer, and probably like a top-notch demon slayer. So I think that's a cool detail. Like, it's something introduced so early in the story. It makes me wonder if she had that plan, or if it just happened to work out that way, like, got the idea as she was writing, you know what I mean? So our faves are back. We have Zenitsu back, and Inosuke's back. We actually get to see Tengen again, because now all the Hashira are helping the Demon Slayer Corps train, because apparently the moment Nezuko was able to withstand the sun, all the demon attacks have stopped. So they start training. So Kaguya sends a letter to Tanjiro. Tanjiro essentially has to talk to Giyu because he's upset about something. This was the saddest part of this volume. This volume is actually pretty funny, but this was definitely the saddest part. Apparently, he's pissed because Tanjiro was supposed to become the Water Hashira. And Tanjiro's like, well, like, no thanks, like, I have another breathing style. He said he's not a Water Hashira, and it's because he doesn't feel worthy enough. And then he brings up Sabito, who we were introduced so earlier in the series, and I figured he would come back because, you know, Giyu's Haori design. But him and Sabito are essentially best friends, and in their final selection, Sabito defeated all the demons, but died. He got killed off anyway while everyone else survived, and because of that, Giyu doesn't feel worthy of his title. And it makes me sad because he's one of my faves. And Tanjiro says, he's like, don't you want to use the gift that Sabito gave you? Like, Sabito gave you the gift of life. Then we get another flashback. Sabito said, you need to live for your sister. So we find out that Giyu's sister died protecting him from a demon. And we see that her kimono is the other half of his Haori. So we see that Giyu has little mementos, and I think that's sweet. And I hope this helps him. I hope this helps him realize he is the Water Hashira. I mean, he invented his own form within the breathing technique. Like, clearly he's made out to do this. And then him and Tanjiro have an eating competition. I thought that was pretty funny. But next we get some insight on Shinobu. One of the reasons I love this volume so much is because my favorites are coming back. My favorite character is Shinobu. My second favorite is Giyu. So it's so nice to see them again. But both of them don't really have, like, happy segments, because we see that Shinobu's not, I don't want to say her typical, like, happy self, since that's not her real self, but we see her becoming more of her real self, like, very solemn, and she's praying to something. Kanao comes in saying she wants to be trained with her. And because I find, something I found interesting is Shinobu's not part of the Hashira training. Like, they each have their own sect, but Shinobu's not a part of that. And I didn't understand why. Now that I finished the volume, I think I do. But Kanao's like, I want to train with you, and Shinobu's like, no, know what you're going to do. Because you're more confident with talking, we're going to discuss how to defeat the demon that beat my sister. And I was like, oh boy, because I know, I can guess this was a plan. I mentioned earlier, I have been spoiled for Shinobu's death. I know she's going to die. It's probably going to be planned. It's not going to be accidental. It's going to be planned, and I know I'm going to cry. Then we see Tamayo again. Kaguya's crow comes in. Remember earlier in the video, I noted how similar Tamayo and Shinobu looked in a way, especially in the anime. Like, purple is a huge theme for both of them in the anime. Authors always do shit like this on purpose. So they're probably gonna have, like, a huge role together later in the series. And I got my answer. I was right. Crow told Tamayo that Kaguya wants her to work with Shinobu. It wasn't explicitly said like that. It was essentially said, there is a child in the Demon Slayer Corps who's also into demons and into pharmacology. Please work together. And again, they use the word kid to describe Shinobu. I forgot she's only fucking, like, 18 years old. The characters in this series seem so much older than they actually are. Like, I would put Shinobu in her 20s. Giyu, I know, is 21. I would put him a bit older. I just found out the Stone Hashira's 27. I'm thinking this man's, like, in his 30s. Same thing with Tengen. What do you mean he's 23? What do you mean Rengoku was 21? I don't know if it's like their character designs or because I watched the anime first and I heard their like adult voices. But it was kind of whiplash reading that because I'm like, what do you mean Shinobu was a kid? But I'm very excited to see how those two work together, especially given Shinobu's views on demons in the beginning of the series. Now Tanjiro can start his training with the other Hashira. Then he gets to Sanemi. This I thought was hilarious because Sanemi's like, I'm gonna push you, I hate you. And Tanjiro, with the biggest smile on his face, was like, don't worry, I hate you too, you stabbed Nezuko. And Sanemi was like, the fucking nerve. So now he pushes him, and Tanjiro had the hardest time. But then Genya tried apologizing to Sanemi. This is where it gets weird because I feel so bad for both of them. And Sanemi's like, you're not my brother, I don't have a brother, you should quit, you can't even do a breathing style. And I feel bad for Genya because he realized what he did is wrong, he just wants his older brother back, and like, in a way, I understand Sanemi because he did everything he could to protect Genya just for Genya to call him a murderer. Like, I could see why Sanemi's angry. I just want these two to make up before the end because that shit like this means one of them's going to die. I don't know who, but one of them is. Otherwise, the author wouldn't be doing shit like this. Tanjiro gets in the middle of it. I love this boy, but sometimes I feel like he needs to stay away from other people's family matters. I know Genya's a friend, but in the end, Tanjiro got his like fucking ass beat. He started a huge brawl, so Sanemi has to end his training, and Tanjiro is not allowed near that man. They both got what they deserved there. But then the chapter ends with them going to the Stone Hashira, and they see how hard it's gonna be because they see Inosuke just staying under this waterfall. And the Stone Hashira is like, hey, let's start training, and then him and Zenitsu are screaming. And that's the end of this volume. And what a read. I'm very excited for this arc. It said at one point they're training for this final battle with Muzan because they know it's gonna be hard now that he wants to eat Nezuko. And I do think it's cute. They're all like gearing up to protect her, especially after how they treated her in the beginning. Their relationship with her is evolving in such like a good way. Like they all view her as a little sister. I'm excited to learn more about the Stone Hashira. I already know Shinobu's past is intertwined with his, so I'm interested to see like what that means. And I'm also just interested to see how the author's just gonna stretch out this arc. And I'm wondering how this series is going to end because we're over halfway through the series and I just feel like there's so much more we have to do, and I don't know if she's gonna stick the landing. I can't even guess. I'm gonna give this a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy this volume. Oh, something I forgot to mention though with the last arc, it was after I finished my video summary that I realized why Genya can eat demons or why that makes sense. Our group of 5 all represent the 5 senses. Tanjiro is smell, Inosuke's touch, Zenitsu is hearing, and Genya, I'm assuming, is taste. That's why he can eat these demons. So therefore, I'm assuming Kanao is sight. And yeah, peace out. All right, y'all, November 9th, and we're on volume 16, still part of the Hashira training arc. How exciting. My dog is at the vet being neutered right now, so he's not here with me. I'm gonna see if I could finish this before I have to leave to pick him up. No promises, but I am determined to get this done today, so let's get reading. Yup, okay. I can't give a proper update because I do need to pick up my dog. That was so stressful because I know, I'm like crying thinking about this. I know she's going to die. And I saw the panel where she gets stabbed and I'm like, this is it. This is it for my favorite character. It's not happening yet. It's gonna happen in the next volume and I fucking can't, you guys. My heart was pounding just waiting for it to happen. Oh my god, okay. Oh, I'm tearing up. Oh my goodness. it's November 16th. I can finally update y'all on volume 16. So, oh, my burrito's ready. This arc is much, much shorter than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a volume or two longer, considering like we're on volume 16 out of 23, but it looks like we're already entering the last arc, which I'll get to in a second. But the Hashira training arc, it was fun, short and sweet. We did get to find out about Guillaume's past, and how sad. So he lived in a temple with a bunch of orphaned kids, and then one day a demon came and attacked. And he was so small during this time. He was very skinny because he said they were very poor and didn't have much to eat. And all the kids died except for one. Only one stayed with him to be safe. However, in the end, she was only like 4 years old. So in her panic, she was saying the evil man came and they all thought it was Guillaume. But she really did mean the demon. And it said later, like an end of chapter note, how like even at 14 years old to this day, she's still very guilty about it. It was essentially what inspired him to become a demon slayer. And he became a Hashira at like 19 or whatever it was. And again, these characters are so much younger than I think they are. So Tanjiro interrupts Giyu and Sanemi fighting. Sanemi leaves and he finds these demon eyeballs. These eyeballs are stalking our characters to see where they're at. And that's how Muzan ends up finding Kaguya. We learn about how selfless Kaguya is, and he's saying like, you know, I'm not that important. However, people do love me, so if you kill me, I'm gonna die, but the whole world itself will be fine. And we basically learn that Muzan is obviously striving for, I shouldn't say learn, it was kind of obvious from the beginning, but he's striving for eternity. He doesn't want anything to kill him, including the sunlight. And Kaguya makes a comment that if he dies, he as in Muzan, all the other demons die, and this scared Muzan. And we also find out they're related, and it's why Kaguya has this sickness, because at first all the children in his clan were just straight up dying until a priest came. I don't know what he did, but now they just don't make it past a certain age. But then his house just explodes, and he was in on it. He knew he was gonna die. Guillaume was also in on it. They used Kaguya as bait to get Muzan and the other demon slayers together to finally destroy him. But then they're all thrown into this Infinity Castle, and that is how the Infinity Castle arc begins. I heard that name of the arc, so I knew it was going to be like one of the final ones, but again, volume 16, when there's a total of 23, so I don't know what I'm in for. Oh, and I also forgot to add that Lady Tamayo makes another appearance. She injected Muzan with her serum that's supposed to make him human again. But anyway, in this castle, in this Infinity Castle, they're all being chased by demons, and they're able to kill them because it's demon slayers versus not so strong demons. But the whole point of having so many is to get them to wear out so that Muzan could kill them before daylight. But while our characters go do things, my favorite Shinobu enters her final phase. And I know in 17 she's gonna die. I thought she was gonna die at the end of this one, honestly. So my heart was pounding. But she recognizes Doma, Kazuki number 2, as the demon that killed Kanai. She gets really angry. They fight a little. He breaks her ribs. And she's like on the ground fainting, like she can't do this. But then she has a vision of Kanai telling her to stand up. You can definitely do this. And she's back to fighting. Shinobu's going boom, boom, boom. And Domo's like, I can't fight her. And the volume ends with Shinobu sneaking up on him, stabbing her sword. And it stabs through him and it stabs through the ceiling. So he's locked in, obviously gonna get out because I've been spoiled for this ending. And we're gonna read it, and I really don't want to because I don't want to say goodbye. And I will say, I'm a little upset this arc is happening so, I don't know if I want to say quickly, but so like early-ish considering how many volumes there are. Part of me understands why it's starting early-ish because there's so many Kazuki to defeat, and obviously I'm sure she's gunning towards defeating Muzan. It's just because I feel like we didn't have a lot of time with some of these characters. I feel like we just met some of these Hashira. They're obviously going to play big roles in the ending, but it's not going to hit as hard in a way. Like, I just met the Mist Hashira. I just met the Love Hashira. And like, obviously what's going to happen to them? Am I gonna feel for that? And as much as I love Shinobu, I feel like we didn't have a lot of time with her. She was in that one arc, and then she was in the healing arc before Entertainment District began. And now she's back, and I already know she's going to die. So I just wish there was just some extra stuff to give us more time with these characters and to develop even more feelings for them. But whatever, the series is complete. It's not like she could do anything about it now. So let's go ahead and eat my burrito and then read volume 17. I'm tearing up, y'all. Oh my god. Okay, I need to take a break really quick to take my dog out, but I am halfway through, and what? I'm like going through this volume. Holy shit. My favorite character died in the first chapter. Rest in peace, Shinobu. And it was, oh my god, it was so gruesome. Like, he basically cracked her back. Poor Kanao had to see it all too after losing Kanai. Doma cracked Shinobu's back and then absorbed her. Literally gross. This author gave me absolutely no time to mourn because we got a bunch of new information shoved in our faces. I did like to see Tanjiro tear up a bit, especially because they had that moment earlier in the series. And I did like to see Gyu's reaction because when we're introduced to Shinobu, she's with him and they had that pairing for a while. I am a little upset we've never seen them interact again after that, just because I thought they bounced off each other really well. Like, I mean, yes, it's because I shipped them earlier, but even just from a writing aspect, obviously they weren't going to become canon, I'm aware. But just from a writing aspect, like, they just bounced off each other so well. I just would have loved to see that comedy again, but whatever. Like, we can't all get what we want. Also, I kept saying Kaguya. The guy's name is Kagaya. Now that he's dead with his wife and 2 kids, I totally forgot he had a son until suddenly a lookalike shows up. And I was like, what do you mean he survived? But no, it's his 8-year-old son. Kagaya died at 23. How young are these people having babies? Sudden Zenitsu is coming across this one dude, what was his name? Hold on. What was his name? Kaigaku. He confronts Kaigaku, who is now upper rank 6. And I remember earlier when Zenitsu was talking about someone training with him, and I was like, this design looks familiar because I've seen like the silhouettes of future characters. And it's him. He became a demon because he thought the old guy wasn't valuing him enough, but Muzan is. And it's just so, I was very excited for Zenitsu here because he was clearly upset. Actually, I was shocked, first of all, to find out the old guy, Gramps, killed himself. When did this happen? This was just thrown in our faces, but he killed himself because Kaigaku became a demon. And good on Zenitsu, man. He created his own form, the 7th form, and he did it while he was awake. I knew during this fight we would see him awake. I knew that was going to be him overcoming his troubles. But nothing could have prepared me for the fact he was going to create his own form and therefore overcome the one form. He does kill Kaigaku, which good for him. And oh my god, that vision of him with Grams. I was in tears. I wasn't expecting to cry over that. I wasn't expecting to cry for Zenitsu at all, and here I am. I will say, as cool as that fight was to see and how pretty the artwork was, I just wish Kaigaku came up more so in the story, so I could actually feel something about this. Like, yes, I'm proud of Zenitsu for overcoming his troubles when it comes to thunder breathing, but I just really didn't feel that connection he had with Kaigaku. I guess I could understand his anger because of telling, but I just wish the author showed it throughout the series. Because he's just a random character that looks like a cat. His design reminds me of a cat, but he feels like a random character that just died, and it's like, okay, yay, you defeated a demon. You know what I mean? But nothing could have prepared me for the fact he was the kid that ratted out Guillaume. And like, looking back at that panel, he looks like the kid. I just never put 2 and 2 together. Oh, and speaking of Guillaume, I forgot to mention, saved Kanai and Shinobu, and they looked so cute as youngins. And like, that's really sweet. I wish they showed Guillaume's reaction to Shinobu dying because I feel like that's important. They show Kagaya's kids again. We find out they're being guarded by Hengen, and then who I thought was Rengoku, like the Rengoku we knew. And I was so confused. I was like, is this the afterlife? Is Tengen having a vision? But no, it's his father. Just good on him. I felt so proud of him in that moment just because we see him go from a drunkard to helping these people because he doesn't want to bring shame upon his family. And given that statement, it seems like those kids are in his mansion. Because I was like, where are these kids if their mansion was blown up? And we see Nezuko, she is sweating bullets. Apparently Tamayo put the serum in her. And she's with the guy, Yurokodaki, who trained Tanjiro. So it's nice to see those two together again. Right now, where I left off is Tanjiro and Giyu versus Akaza. And that's how we learn Tanjiro has the power of a Hashira right now. Y'all, it's the last day of November. It is so sunny out. This is obviously done. I did obviously finish it. This volume, wow. Okay, it ends with Giyu and Tanjiro versus Akaza. Giyu gets his demon mark, and Akaza's dodging these attacks, so is Tanjiro, and he's making connections because he had a conversation apparently because all these things have to happen in flashbacks. They never happen like organically throughout the story. But apparently he had a talk with Inosuke, and Inosuke does the transparent world thing. And Tanjiro had a whole lesson with his father, because apparently his dad has been doing it as well, along with his grandfather and great-grandfather. It's a generational thing. And the transparent world is when you could like literally like see their insides and see how their insides move, and that's how you can get your attacks so precise. That's what I gathered from it. That's where we're at. I was like, oh boy, we're in the middle of a fight. Akaza has a flashback too, so I'm assuming what I'm reading today, we're gonna get his background in this. We're in the last arc, aren't we? So I don't really know how this is gonna end and how long she's gonna drag it out and if it works. I hope it does. Hi, Carmine. Without further ado, let's get reading.
All of these rocks.
I'm in the middle of Akasa's backstory. This is not fucking fair. Holy fucking shit.
Thoughts of the earth speaks to all of us. And if we listen, we can understand.
Okay, I didn't think I was gonna cry for another, what are these called? Upper moons. Like, I haven't cried this hard for one since the spider one. And I still have so many more chapters to go. Okay, I actually finished a chapter. I had 2 more pages left and I need a break. Twitter said this chapter was rough. This backstory, not necessarily the chapter. They said it was sad. I didn't know what I was gonna get into. Holy fuck, she said, welcome home, my love. Does that mean she's going to hell with him because he can't go to heaven? But why can't he go to heaven? Because he didn't choose to be a demon. And Daki had the choice to go to heaven when she didn't choose to be a human. I don't know, maybe it's because he was an ass as a human too. Oh my god. And I meant choice to be a demon, not human. I'm a fucking mess. I think I have a few more chapters left, but I need a break. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello, it's December 4th and I'm finally updating with my boy Carmine over here. Look at his nose. He looked that raw. I feel so bad. Are you anxious? So look at him just staring at me. Hi, baby. So, okay, where were we in volume 18? What a fucking ride. What a fucking emotional roller coaster. I saw on Twitter that Akaza's backstory is apparently really sad. It's the type of villain origin story where like you hate the villain, you see his backstory, you feel sorry for him. And boy, oh boy, I was not expecting to cry that hard. When I put the camera down, I actually stopped a bit. I texted all my friends. I'm like, I'm not okay. I have a friend she's an anime only, and I warned her, and I'm like, whoa. I don't know if we're seeing this in 2024 or 2025, but it was a rough time. There was just something poetic about Akaza's end. His tattoos stem from the fact they're criminal tattoos, so I like how that was carried over into his demon form. And even his fighting style was carried over, because his fighting style as a human was just with fists, and that's kind of arguably what he did in demon form, without his blood demon art, obviously. His father was sick, that's why he was committing crimes, to help his father, and it's like, you can't blame him for that. And his dad died, which is tragic, but then the dojo master took him in, and then the dojo master had a daughter who was really sick. They were engaged, but then the enemy, the rival dojo poisoned the water and the master, and the daughter died. And that just sucks, because they're mad at the master. First, he didn't deserve to die, that's not what I'm saying here, but it just sucks that they dragged the daughter into it as well, because like, what did she do? And it's sad because she obviously got better from her sickness, because everyone thought she was going to die so young, and she ended up not. She ended up having that future, which is why she fell in love with Akaza, because Akaza was the only one who told her she has a future. And I don't know, man, it's such a tragic love story, because Akaza was so close to getting the life he promised his dad he would have, just for it to all fall to pieces in the end. And yeah, he did some terrible things as a demon, but It's one of those instances where, like, as a demon, he obviously got his comeuppance because we do see him go to hell, but I feel sorry for the Akaza that once was. One thing I kind of didn't understand was that he said he was going straight to hell, because I saw that he didn't choose to become a demon. Muzan made the choice for him, and then in the past with Daki, she didn't choose to become a human. So she had the choice of whether or not to go to hell, but Akaza doesn't have that choice. So I can only assume it's because of all the people he killed as a human as well. But it touched my heart that the fiance, as he's fighting Tanjiro and Giyu, she holds his hand and tells him that's enough, like he's done everything he could. And she welcomed him home and they went to hell together, and I'm tearing up thinking about it again. It was just a poetic story, and like what's poetic about it is just Akaza choosing to end his own life, because we saw that as a demon he can regenerate. Even with his head chopped off, he was regenerating his head. So he was defeated in a way, because the crow announced that it was Tanjiro and Giyu who defeated him, but you could argue they did, but I just feel like it's more so Akaza defeating himself, like a human version of Akaza defeating the demon version of Akaza. Again, I've said this word like maybe 5 times in this update, but there's just something very poetic about that, and I really do like that. Now, what I was not expecting was for, first of all, Kanao to have that comeback to Doma. What did she say? Like, why were you born? Girl, that was the most she talked too. In volume 18, I think she talked more in volume 18 than she had in all the other volumes combined. Good for her. We love character growth. I was not expecting, though, Inosuke and Shinobu to have this, like, the slight connection that they do have. As at first you think it's because of, like, the pinky promise, and then he's like, oh my god, I met Shinobu in a past life, when really it was actually his mom that he was remembering, and that's really sad too. So that's where the connection comes in with Shinobu. Both Shinobu and Inosuke lost the people they loved to Doma. His mom was running away from an abusive relationship. She found out Doma wasn't normal, ran away from him, so to save Inosuke, she threw him over a cliff, and then Doma ate her. He had no plans to. He was going to keep her, but then he ate her. And Inosuke is very understandably mad about that. So I have a feeling it's going to be him and Kanao hopefully defeating Doma. Hopefully no one fucking dies. There is one more thing I want to mention about the volume. I think I gave it about 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 stars. My one critique is that this author really needs to work on her show don't tell skills, because there is some narration for Akaza's story, and she doesn't just do it with this. She has done it all throughout the story, I've noticed, but in this specific volume, as an example, she told us that Akaza's blood demon art is based on memories, so she made the connection, like the whole snowflake thing deals with the fiance's beret. When she does that, it just seems redundant, because me personally, I caught on right away. Like, as soon as I saw the snowflake in the girl's hair, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have eyes. You are literally drawing it for us. You don't need to say it too. And that's just the example in volume 18, but I've noticed she has done that throughout the entire story, where like a character, especially Tanjiro, a character will say something like that we just saw, and it's like, I feel like that speech bubble is unnecessary. We have eyes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I wish she would trust their readers more to read between the lines. But that's my only critique of volume 18 specifically, and one of my critiques of the story so far. Let's get back to volume 19.